Got a guest.
Hello. Yes, I'm so excited this morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning outside.
What? Hello? Look at that.
It is. It's okay. It's
I'm
kinda
contemplating building an ark because Titanics don't work.
No,
Look
Titanic doesn't work.
No.
We have actually Jason Machulski with us. He has started a movement to save the clock, which is hangs
were
over
talking
Keith's
about
Pawn
that
Shop
on
downtown.
Friday.
And I happen to be, Facebook stalking, of course. I'm
Yes,
usual.
she's a stalker, Jason.
I'm a stalker.
Right, yeah.
And I was stalking Jason, and I was like, this would be something really cool to talk about this morning because it's this movement, a grassroots movement to save the clock. Because as we now know, Mr. Keith passed away, and the pawn shop has been closed. And so, but the clock itself, from my understanding, is historical as far as its role. So hello, Jason. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it
You
going?
excited to be here? He's got his Save the Clock t-shirt on.
Right.
Yes.
Which I love it. So tell us a little bit more about your passion and what made you think to do this.
Well, I started thinking about the clock and where it might end up. And what I did was think the community needed the clock to stay there. And the input I've received so far, it backs it 100%. So I created Save the Clock Lake Charles, a little funding organization to help keep the clock where it's at, to preserve those memories and historic moments that everybody remembers in Southwest Louisiana.
So the original placement of the clock, I believe, was at the Lake Charles Bank and Trust building?
Correct. That was the original.
Oh, okay.
And that was built, what, I think 1928 or?
It was in 1920s.
1920s,
Right.
I know. So it is very historical.
Right.
And then a little tidbit of information you and I talked about was it was used for New Year's Eve?
Actually, it was used, the last time it was used was the Millennium New Year's.
Okay.
That's the
That's
clock
pretty
they
cool.
used for the countdown.
Okay, so that's, I mean, it's something, and I know, like you and I talked about Friday, was, the downtown revitalization and bringing businesses in and keeping the culture and the history of Lake Charles downtown, but also putting a modern spin.
Right.
And this is just, I mean, people might say, oh, it's just a clock, Jason. I mean, what do you do? But
No, it's much, much more than a
Much
clock.
more than
Yeah.
just a clock. Come on now.
oh,
It's an iconic centerpiece for Lake Charles.
Yeah.
The memories that are tied to it, like going to the bank with your grandmother back in the day, and you just notice this big, huge clock, and it's just a focal point where you can sit and tell stories and connect some lost memory back in your childhood and actually share that memory with the future generations is makes everything worth saving, not only the clock, but history itself.
Okay, so tell us about your cause. How are we going to
Yes, what
save
we
this
gonna do?
thing?
How can we save the clock?
How can you save the clock?
Yes.
I created a Facebook page, Save the Clock Lake Charles. Quick search to pull that one up. And I also created a GoFundMe account, which is easily accessible through the Facebook page. We'll have drop-off locations here coming this week. If you don't want to go to GoFundMe, you can go to these locations and drop off. All proceeds will go to the clock to purchase it to stay downtown. And also, any overages or any money that's left over will be going split equally between the Historic Preservation Society in Lake Charles and the Arts and Humanities Council.